Hello everybody, it's a pleasure to see so many of you today. My name is Filippo Lorenzin. I am the Artistic Director of MoCDA, and it's a pleasure presenting this amazing opportunity to learn a little bit more about the MoCDA Digital Summer Show 2022, and of course, meet some of the students that have been featured in the show. With me, as you can see, there is Marie Chatel. Marie Chatel is an amazing MoCDA, is one of the most amazing curators I ever had the pleasure to work with. Luckily enough, she's part of the MoCDA team. She played a very important role when it came to selecting the works that are now on display in the Decentraland, and she's helping a lot with the catalog as well. So, hi, Marie.
Hi, Filippo. Very nice being with you here today.
Amazing. So thank you all for connecting, especially on such a presumably very hot day. So just to provide some information, if this is the very first time you ever heard about the MoCDA Digital Summer Show, long story short, this show is a group exhibition featuring 30 works made by more than 30 students from art schools and art universities from around the world. So from Italy to India, from the Netherlands to the UK, from the US to Cuba. This project aims to reveal the talents and digital creativity of art students from international art schools worldwide. And again, it's a pleasure being here with Marie and some of the students to talk a little bit more about this.
So I guess if we were to sum up this show, I would say it's twofold. The first thing is that it places art students in a legacy, and it breaks tradition in bringing together diversity and innovation. So first, when showing students art in a public exhibition like we are doing right now, well, it builds from the artistic tradition of the salon, where Parisians gathered in the 19th century to observe the many practices, the media, the different art forms, different types of representation that was studied at the Académie des Beaux-Arts. And this practice continued, and it's something we can still see in some places, most notably today, the Royal Academy in London. So here, MoCDA builds on this, but it takes another point of view. The digital summer show we offer at MoCDA is really about taking advantage of working in the metaverse, in a dematerialized and decentralized environment, where we can celebrate diversity. And by diversity, we mean a diversity of teaching, a diversity of learning, and also a diversity of practicing the arts.
Absolutely. So as you can imagine, this project took a lot of time for us. Actually, we started the production of this project in early February. So it took 5 months to finally be able to open the exhibition. In fact, between February and April, our curatorial team selected and contacted art schools and universities worldwide to present this project. And of course, to tell a little bit more about MoCDA and our educational mission. We met hundreds, if not thousands, of students and many very enthusiastic teachers. From countries like France, Italy, Austria, China, India, the US, Cuba, the Netherlands, and so on. From the beginning, our goal was to involve students who were already interested. I mean, the idea was to involve not only those that were already interested in digital art, but also those that, that are painters or graphic designers or are interested in sculpture. The idea is to give them the opportunity to experiment with digital tools and incorporate these new uses into their traditional practice that may not be, so easily connected to digital culture. In May, we received over 200 submissions from more than 120 students. Can you imagine? So many amazing works. Our curatorial team selected 30 works that reflect the many approaches to creating digital art. This collection of artworks offers insights into a new generation of artists and creatives whose works can be appreciated either URL or IRL, so to speak. Throughout this process, MoCDA has been hosting dedicated events for the selected students, including lectures, curatorial group sessions, and hands-on workshops to offer an understanding of a theory and also the practice of displaying art in virtual spaces. The first edition of the digital summer show, as you can imagine, is a very, very important moment for MoCDA.
Yes, Filippo. So, as you might already know, but one of our missions at MoCDA has always been to help the public learn and develop ideas around the creative use of digital tools. And so since 2019, we've been proud to connect with digital artists, with tech experts, with students and the public throughout like the many shows and special events we're running. And this is really our purpose at MoCDA. This is why, on behalf of the whole MoCDA team, we wanted to give a special thank to all the directors, the teachers, and the students who made this project possible. It's just another step for us in getting closer to our mission and embracing its full potential. So thank you so much for your support. And I'd like to quickly name all the young artists that have been participating in this incredible exhibition, because they deserve so much credit for their work. And you'll get to walk around the space in Decentraland and I guess discover each one of their works, but we really wanted to give them a little thank you. So Aden Flores from Institute Marangoni Firenze in Italy. We have Alice Colaretta from the Willem de Kooning Academy in the Netherlands. Anna Mitschlechner-Dien from the Universität für angewandte Kunst Wien in Austria. We have Brian José Romero Garcia from the Institut Supérieur de Arte in Cuba. Charna Ramsey from Parsons Paris, the new school in France. We have Christian Anutoyu, the Universität für angewandte Kunst Wien in Australia. Daniele Manning Noba from Rome University of Fine Arts in Italy. Dawson Batchelder from New York University in the United States. Demir Ramazanov from Parsons Paris as well. Eliska Yahelkova from also from the Fine Arts University in Wien. Gérard Martinez from the Institut Supérieur de Arte in Cuba. We have Isanova from the Rome University of Fine Arts. Jerry G. Kunsau from the New York University. Jessica Kuhn from the Willem de Kooning Academy. José Miguel Cano Alvarez, also from the University of Arts in Cuba. Karen Liang and Jerry Fang from the Accademia di Belle Arti di Venezia in Italy. Lea Colombier from the Istituto Marangoni in Firenze. Liz Spitzer from New York University. Maria Fernanda Chacon Rivera. We have Malika Jain. We also have, so Malika Jain is from the National Institute of Design in Ahmedabad, India. Nilay Gomkale from Srishti Manipal Institute of Art, Design and Technology, also in India. Pallavi Kiragi from the same university in India. Patricia Shamrak-Zova from the Universität für angewandte Kunst Wien in Austria. Pia Betola and Leila Ines Liocures from the Parsons Paris in France. King Yu Peng from the New York University. Rafaela Mehmet from the Willem de Kooning Academy. Sophie Engelschen from the Institut Marangoni in Florence. Sunak Gosh from the New York University. Twili Leova from the University of the Arts London. Camberwell College of Arts, and Susanna Zagorska and Abbas work from the Parsons Paris New School in France. So thank you to everyone.
All right, thank you, Marie. As you see, that was a very long list. And again, if we wanted to mention all the amazing artists that submitted works, to take part in this project, we would have probably, it would have been probably take, I don't know, like the whole afternoon or the whole morning, depending on where you are. Now, we would like to let some of the artists featured in the show to present their works. So first of all, I would like to welcome Tui Lee Leova. Hi Lee, how are you?
Hi, very good, thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you. So Lee, well, first of all, congrats, because she recently graduated from the Camberwell College of Arts in London, so very well done.
Thank you.
Lee is an exec illustrator with Vietnamese heritage who enjoys combining various art fields and uses her experience and knowledge to inspire her illustration work. Lee, can you present Ray Carter and the Forgotten Universe, the work featured in the show? In the meantime, I will try to show the actual work.
So this project aims to show the importance of dreams for our well-being by exploring various interactive and immersive media, challenging the boundaries of sequential storytelling. I think in this current context of social media and algorithm age, our individuality is increasingly at risk as we are dissociating from the unconscious. And dreams perhaps can help us learn more about ourselves, taking, for example, Carl Gustav Jung's individuation process as an example. This story of Ray Carter's individuation process is told through her Instagram profile and is accompanied by this interactive 360 panorama VR experience, which is exhibited in Decentraland. And it allows the audience to plunge into Ray's subconscious dream worlds and travel through these different surreal worlds, the Forgotten Universe, which I created this concept of a realm of collective dream worlds populated by surreal entities and archetypes inspired by Jung's theories of the collective unconscious, and also indigenous dream theories of dream realms. It would make more sense when you follow Ray Carter's Instagram and kind of read the story to see what happens in each world. This is the kind of the 360 experience.
Exactly. What I would suggest is for our visitors that, go and see the exhibition to spend, I don't want to say, like 4 hours, but, it's the kind of work, I mean, of course you can. And of course, there is, so many things to see. Honestly, the first time Lee, when Lee submitted this work, I mean, it took it took a lot of time for the curators to, to explore the world environment. And I would suggest you, to take 15, 20 minutes, half an hour of your day just to explore every single 3D environment, because again, it's a very, very impressive work. So thank you, Lee, for the presentation. So yes, thank you.
Thank you. Well, then let's welcome maybe Malika to the discussion. And thank you very much, Lee. Hi, Malika.
Hi.
So just to introduce you shortly, so Malika Jain is a Delhi-based artist specializing in exhibition and spatial design from National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad. Malika questions societal norms and status quo through her work. She is interested in conceptualization and ideation, and there is no better example of her radical approach to spatial narrative design than the National War Memorial Museum project. Malika, please, could you tell us more about this project?
Yeah. So this project really questions how can a war museum promote empathy and humanity, and through various exhibits, they question. One can find like how can war, like who profits from a war, or who really wins the war. So it makes a visitor question these things, and maybe choose humanity or see humanity in those situations. So
Thank you, Malika. Can I ask you one more question about this project? Because again, we were very impressed by this, when you submitted it, because, we were looking for, creative takes on what can be done with 3D environment. And of course, this is a very, we really appreciated your critical approach to what it means, to display, to create experiences for the public, isn't it? So I just wonder what inspired you in the first place to design this museum.
So honestly, first when I was introduced this project by my faculty, I was not really looking for making a war museum, because all the existing notions attached to it, like what is it supposed to represent. But then I had this conversation with my mother, like, if you don't like certain narrative, you can always change it. So this was one of the prompts that made me pursue this particular project.
Amazing. Thank you, Malika. So the next artist is Jessica Kuhn. Here we go. Let me add her. Hi, Jessica. How are you?
Hi. I'm good.
Amazing. Let me first of all share your work. So in the meantime, maybe I can introduce you. So Jessica is a first-year student, but I suppose you are a future second-year student at this point at the Willem de Kooning Academy in Rotterdam. In stark contrast to her work with new media, Jessica is therapeutically obsessed with classical oil painting, which she studied at the Russian Institute for Classical Painting in Florence. Jessica presented a very peculiar work. It's a sort of 3D environment, and basically this is the first time she talked about it when we had the opportunity to meet her in her, not in her class, because we weren't able to actually go to Rotterdam, but let's say that the critical approach to what she wanted to explore felt very urgent to us. So I just wonder, Jessica, while I try to share my screen, if in the meantime you can start introducing Ukra, which is work on display.
Yeah. Where should I start? Well, maybe a bit about my background, that makes a bit more sense. So I'm Russian, but I grew up in Germany. And for me, sort of the idea of Russia and Russian culture has always been something, to look from the outside. And I kind of only got it from kids' TV shows and while being in Germany. And with the beginning of the war and then the invasion, I was, first of all, completely overwhelmed, but also very aware of my own Russianness, which I then questioned. And the last couple of years, I sort of tried to find identity in that as well. And suddenly I'm wondering, why did I do that? And what does it mean? And actually, well, first I had a whole different approach to dealing with the war, and it was more meditative, and maybe well-being and such themes came up. But while I tried it, it didn't really work. Well, only rage came out. So eventually, I started kind of locking myself up in a 3D environment with Soviet buildings. And I was basically scrolling through Twitter every day for hours, just looking at images from Bucha and stuff, Mariupol. And I wanted to share this feeling of being in this world and not really, it's just things that's sort of merging together. So if you are looking through Ukra, it's also 360 world, where it's basically Google Street View, but my version of Google Street View. And it's you walk through it and you see images from Ukraine. It's a sort of digital collage, you could say, together with my cultural influences from Russia. So there's mutilated bodies next to kids' TV character Masha.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think I'm able to finally. Sorry, the second screen is not exactly the most performative device I ever used in my life. So please be patient with me. I'm going to share your work in a second. In the meantime, I remember that the first time we talked about, about this work, I think I told you that it reminded me a little bit like low poly video games, and how that kind of low poly resolution in fact can be weaponized in in communication and in politics. So I just wonder if you can tell a little bit more about your interest in low res information, or like low res imagery, especially when it comes to to war scenes.
Yeah. I mean, so first of all, I think what is interesting for me was that I didn't really make a lot of new things for this experience. It was sort of digital ready-mades, you could say, things that you find everywhere, and I just take them and put them in a new context, and that's where this low quality comes from. Yeah, and I think everyone knows this aesthetic. At least I would think everyone knows this aesthetic of very chunky, pixelated 3D models. I mean, I only use the same 3D model. I use the same building over and over again. I didn't use any other building. So
that's usually what happens. Oh, here we go. Finally, sorry for keeping you wait. Yeah, I mean, that's quite interesting for me, because I mean, I said it's going to work, but of course, yeah, there you go. Because that's something that tends to happen very often in online communication, isn't it? I mean, there is this sort of copy and paste kind of approach that doesn't work only with images, but also with text, and that's why you have like propaganda and certain ways to communicate certain things. I mean, I remember on the very first days of this war, but of course of many other wars, unfortunately, you had this sort of not like creepypasta, but you had these sort of stories lurking that basically were like copied and repeated through various social media, and maybe they started with like a real thing and then became something completely different. So again, as you can imagine, this is another piece that definitely demands your interaction. And again, I would suggest you to take, it's not something you can see in like 1 minute. Again, it's a work that it's actually a very distressing work. It's not something, you can see, thinking, okay, I'm just going to see some nice, colorful pieces by art students. This is definitely not that kind of situation. So thank you, Jessica, again. And again, please go and see this work. Now, yes.
Yeah, now let's welcome Sunak Gosh. So hello, Sunak.
Hello.
Hi. So to introduce you shortly, so Sunak Gosh is an Indian, New York-based 3D artist and game developer. He uses virtual reality, biosensors, motion trackers, and other technologies to investigate the sense of embodiment, perception, and interaction in the liminal spaces between mind and body. Sunak, could you please present Inner Light, the VR experience you're presenting in the show? Yes.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me, first of all. I submitted my piece Inner Light, which is a VR experience. It is it's a meditation experience in some ways, and I was using an electroencephalography device, which is EEG. So it goes under the VR headset, and it basically detects any electrical signals that's happening on your scalp to get your brain activity data to kind of detect what's happening in your brain activity. Now, when I was researching more on what I can do with EEG, this is an emerging field. You might have heard things like BCI, brain-computer interface, and things like this. So I was curious on understanding more on what this is. And once I started looking at it, I realized that these electrical signals, they are basically a representation of our mind in some sense, maybe not the whole aspect of it, but based on how we think and what has happening in our mind, these electrical currents will change, and I can capture that using this device. So I wanted to play with this idea of our form and formless. So our body is a form, and we also have this formless aspect, which is the mind. We can't see it, we can't grasp it, but we all know we have it. So I wanted to create this bridge, and the way I could do that is VR, because VR for me, any of these 3D spaces, these virtual spaces, is the realm of the mind. It is the virtual. So I tried to bring the body into it and then bring the mind there. So this is like the meeting place. So you have this avatar, and on this avatar, all the brain signals are being shown as ripples. And as you meditate through this experience, the changes in your brain activity will be represented on this avatar body as the changes in ripples. So that was kind of the idea of this piece.
Thank you, Sunak. What I especially like about this work is how it explores how, don't get me wrong, but how easy it is to trick the human mind, isn't it? It's a bit like the phantom pain effect, when you're like,
Yes.
I don't know if you ever tried this trick, but basically, Marie, I don't know if you know it, but basically, long story short, is that kind of experiment where you put like something like a barrier, you don't really, and you put your real hand behind it, and you don't see it, but then you put like a fake hand where your real hand is supposed to be, okay? And then basically you start, I don't know, like beating it with a,
hammering, and then
a fork or something, and your mind, I mean, not your mind, like literally Marie's mind, like our minds, because that's how human beings are supposed to behave, I suppose. Our minds actually not feel that pain, but basically, let's say it's triggered to feel something. And again, I believe that this work plays, in a very clever way with how our minds, perceive realities. And honestly, even if I wasn't able to test it, in first person, because unfortunately I do not have a VR headset, not yet. Even by looking at the video, I actually felt like I was actually watching my hands, getting thinner and thinner. So, thank you, Sunak. I just wonder, are you working on many other projects with VR by any chance?
Yes, I am actually. So I'm very interested in biosensors, like Marie mentioned in my intro. So I've been playing around with eye tracking and see what I can do with eye tracking, and more looking towards therapeutic experiences of VR. Maybe as art, but also maybe as something that can be an intervention in therapy. So some projects are coming. I can't fully say what it will be yet, but around those lines.
Amazing.
We'll definitely be following.
Absolutely, absolutely. See you in a few months. I want to learn everything about your new experiments.
And of all the artists we've had on the show, really, because like all the works are so complementary, and this is why we want to invite you to some form of flannery, of like walking around and seeing whatever work kind of catch your eye, and then like spending time to explore it more. And and yes, and come back again to the show to discover new works. And that's why we have this exhibition throughout the whole summer. It's to keep your curiosity active.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sunak.
Thank you so much, Sunak.
Thank you. So yeah, what you just said, Marie, is very true. And I would say that one of the purposes of the project, including, don't get me wrong, of course, the opening of the exhibition is very important. And, it's amazing to see all these works on display. And it was a pleasure collaborating with the Decentraland University team on this. But I would say, I always said that at the end of the day, the opening of the exhibition is more like it's like just one step of a very long journey, because the very first purpose of this project was to, again, give the opportunity to art students to present their works to somebody who are not their classmates or their teachers, if they are lucky, their parents, I suppose, or their friends. And honestly, it was a pleasure, and it was also an honor, I would say, to receive so much, to see so much enthusiasm, regarding this project, especially because, it's the first edition of this show. And, of course, we hope to do this again next year, hopefully, with even more schools, even more students, even more teachers, who knows. Right, so just to let you know, this is only the first of a series of public special events about the Digital Summer Show that MoCDA will host in the incoming months. Presumably not in August, because we know how difficult it can be to connect and stay at your computer or your laptop when it's like 45 degrees outside. So we are going to host a few more events in late August and in September. Just to let you know, this exhibition will stay open until the end of September. So you still have 2.5 months to see it, okay? Before letting you visit the exhibition, which of course is available now in our MoCDA building in the Decentraland, and let you enjoy the works, I just want to say that we are glad to announce, if you missed this bit in the early part of the live event, that this exhibition comes with a catalog featuring text from our curators, including Marie, and insightful information about the artists featured in the show. We will present this amazing catalog in the incoming weeks, in the upcoming weeks. So be sure to follow us on, as you can imagine, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or just subscribe to our newsletter. Thank you, Marie, again for today. It was a pleasure meeting you again.
Thank you, Filippo.
It's always nice hosting events with you. And of course, again, I want to thank, of course, Malika, Sunak, Jessica, and Dee for joining us today.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, I hope there will be. Not I hope. I'm sure there will be.
Many more opportunities to meet. Yes. Many more opportunities to meet all together.
Yeah, we like, at MoCDA, we love talking about art. So, I'm sure there will be many other opportunities to do this in the future. Thank you again. Enjoy the exhibition. And please, please, please don't forget to invite your friends to visit the show and, just spread the word. Thanks again. And bye. Ciao.
Bye. Have a lovely day. And thank you for joining as well. Thanks, everyone.